So when did this cross over into you working full time with Diddy, and did you want to do that at the time?
But see, I never worked full time for Diddy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people don't realize. You know what I'm saying? Diddy had 6 other bodyguards. You understand? I had his family days, but at first when we started off, I was the dude who was, you know, at the red zone, at the building and stuff like that. Then after that City College tragedy in 91, I said, man, I ain't with this cat. You know what I'm saying? Because I told him before we, you know, he had hired me and my crew, 18 guys, to come and do the City College thing. And then that same day, he canceled us out. Whereas they say, yo, Gene, I only need 8 guys. And he lied. And he had got the Nation of Islam to do it cheaper than my price. You understand? And 9 kids died that night. And when I got to the place, I say, yo, Puff, if they don't secure that front door, you know it's gonna be people gonna die here tonight. You understand? Gene, just let them take care of that, and you go downstairs and take care of the stars and stuff. So I just said, okay, bro, all right, whatever. So then that's what happened. It was a stampede, and 9 kids died that night. You know, suffocated in the stairway. You know, so I stopped dealing with them until they had that problem with Suge Knight. And Wolf came to me and he asked me would I be down with them, because a situation happened with us one time and he really wanted me on the team. So I went back, you know, he said, you got your own contract, you understand, and all you got to do is travel with Puff. You know what I'm saying? And then they had to let me know in advance. And back then, those days, Puff was only going places on Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays and stuff like that. And that's when he was traveling out of town or whatever. So I would do those days that he was going out of town traveling. And then after Big died, I stopped dealing with him for another year. So, you know, I went from 95 to 97, and then I stopped dealing with him for a year. And then went back to him, and I started dealing with him from the end of 98, end of 98, beginning of 99, and I stayed with him till about 2004.
When you say stop dealing with him, was this like a falling out, or was it just like, oh, you don't need me right now?
No, it was never falling out. Me and with the Big thing, it was like
everything needed to cool down.
No, he was upset with me, and I was upset with him that he didn't listen to me. He was upset that I talked to Ms. Wallace, Big's mother. You know what I'm saying? And somebody had told him, like Gene, I think Leote told him, yo, Gene called her asking for his money after Big got killed. And it wasn't no situation like that. Arista had sent me Texas, and I didn't know I was being paid by Arista. You understand? I had my own contract with Puff. I always got my money from Bad Boy. But when we went out to California that time, Puff sent the invoice to Arista. You know what I'm saying? On Big's them contract. You understand?
Yeah.
And so Arista never had my information.
To pay.
You understand?
Right.
Yeah.
So when Arista called me up, like, yo, does Gene deal stuff? I said, yeah, sure. We need your social security number, because they was doing the shit the right way.
Yeah.
And you know the other way.
Yep. Yep.
We can't say that because you know we got these. Well, it's way years ago. You know what I'm saying? Way back then. You know what I'm saying? You was somehow some numbers came up missing from your social security number, so you never got.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the Bad Boy way. But the Arista way, you had to have everything straight.
You get that 1099 up off you.
Yeah, because they was checking that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Arista, so I called Bad Boy, like, yo, why is Arista calling me for my social security number? Because that's the only way you're going to get paid out there for that trip in Cali. Because I was Puff's bodyguard then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've always been Puff bodyguard. And they always called me, like, just say, like, y'all at the party. And it's gotten kind of unruly. They think like it's some dudes that is a problem, is a situation. Puff had some security stuff like that, but Puff would call Paul and say, yo, Paul, where Gene at? You understand? And then I would, yo, what's going on? Yo, Gene, Puff want to know, can you come down here and stuff like that? He wants you to come down to the club. I say, I'm going to get paid for the whole 10 hours. You know what I'm saying? Because you get 10 hours and then everything after 10 hours. Yeah, you're going to get paid for the whole 10 hours. So clubs close at 4. You're going to go out. If you're going to go get something to eat, you're going to be back in the house about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get paid for the whole 10 hours. That's $650. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm going to get out my bed
go ahead and get down
and
there.
go down there. You understand?
Yeah.
And what's it called? So when they was going to parties like that, he felt certain kind of way, he would call me. This is in the early days, you know what I'm saying, like that. So now, when he gave like parties, or he went to parties or something like that at the weekend, or he gave functions and stuff like that, I was always the one who ran the door because I knew everybody. I knew the hustler, the gangsters. I knew the guys who was in the industry and everything like that. I knew everybody. I knew the pimps, all that. You understand? I knew Bishop Don Juan. I knew this dude, what's his name, from D.C., Dwayne from D.C. I knew the dude from Detroit. I knew all their faces and everything like that. So I know who should be waiting online and who shouldn't be waiting online. And the only person he ever made me wait online was Russell Simmons, Chris Lighting, and Steve Stout. He always wanted to come get them himself.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So when they were paying you, was that like a company thing? They were paying your company, or they were paying just Gene Deal?
Well, you work for the IRS or something, man? What's going on here?
No, because
What's going on here?
because I was thinking, like, it sounds like it was when they have to get that many, or somebody else involved. It sounds like it's your own crew that they were paying.
No, see, you got to realize is that all the clubs always had their thing.
Yeah.
I had a personal contract with Puff.
Yeah.
I was getting paid directly out of Puff budget whenever I'm around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's just because, like, for a businessman, right, like, to pawn it off on somebody else, be like, you pay this, they usually have to pay the companies and stuff like that. But he obviously made moves to sit there and be like, boom, you take care of this and you take care of this.
I think that sometimes, like, with that California thing, Arista paid us, and I didn't know we was getting paid out of. I was getting paid out of Arista budget because I never got paid out of Arista budget.
Yeah.
I got paid out of Puff personal budget. That's why I knew Derek, his financial chief advisor. You know what I'm saying? I never got paid out of. Derek have our check every Thursday.
Was that one of the more difficult? Would you call that one of the more difficult days of your career working with Puff?
What's that?
The Biggie situation,
man. When you pull somebody out the car after they've been murdered, you can't get no rougher than that, bro.
Yeah, that's something you take on with you for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't really.
When
do
you
that.
actually tell them, if we go to this party, somebody gonna die. You can't get no rougher than that, bro. You know what I'm saying? When you've been warned and you done told everybody in the room, yo, listen here, y'all. If we step outside the door, when someone's gonna die, ain't none that's gonna come back. And then, Gene, go ahead with that bullshit, man. You know, with that cop shit and all that. And then we step outside the door and 2 people die. It's hard to come back. And especially when it's somebody with the statue. Not saying that our lives is not as important,
right?
But somebody' life like Big, where you're gonna always hear his music till you die.
Yeah.
When you gonna always see somebody with a T-shirt on till you die. When you're gonna always hear stories about how great he is until you die. That goes along with you a long way, brother.
Oh yeah.
What gave you the inkling something so terrible could or would go wrong?
Well, first of all, it's the East Coast, West Coast war.
Prime.
Which was, and I've been on stage with Big a lot of times.
Right.
You understand? Well, Puff to tell me, yo, Gene, don't worry about me. Go make sure Big is all right on stage. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on stage, and you got motherfuckers throwing shit up there. You got something like
feeling
that.
the energy
You just
in the
have whole
room,
9
like-
yards. Sometimes you're on stage, and it's just you think it's just great because there's more people in there that love them that don't. But you still see the guys inside. In the clubs after the parties, you see guys, you know, hating,
standing around.
Then you hear shit, and then I know street guys and everything like that. And this one particular time when we was out of California, you know, when I went out there, you know, I was young, dumb, full of cum. You didn't know no better. But, you know what I'm saying, if I start crying, what the baby gonna do, you know? Mm-hmm. Kids need milk. Kids need clothes. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm still working good, but you know, you got to realize, dog, for 2-3 days of work, you getting $2,200 tax-free dollars.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So that goes a long way. So I'm like this. I get a call from Unique, this guy on YouTube now. God is, yo, man, listen to me. Our God does his shit the way he want to, when he want to, and how he want to.
Every time.
You understand? You know, Unique called me from the jail that they got El Chapo in.
Okay.
And he didn't call me directly. He called a girl named Dawn Farrow. Had me on a 3-way call. Back then, the 3-way call would automatically drop from prison.
Yeah.
You understand? So I'm on the phone with Dawn, and Dawn said, hold on, Gene. And then all I hear is somebody say, vest up. You know what I'm saying? And so the phone hung up. And I said, Dawn, who's that? She said, that's Unique. Unique from Mecca Audio? Because Unique was one of the biggest drug dealers in Harlem. They had a crew called Mecca Audio that used to give rap, like, you know how to battle rap shit?
Yeah.
He used to do that shit on the block and just throw $5,000 up in the air. You know what I'm saying?
Go crazy.
Like if you won, he'll throw $5,000 up on your side. And then come back, you go to the store and give you $5,000.
Fly.
You understand?
Yeah.
Like whoever was the winner, Unique could throw $5,000 to this side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So everybody knowing that, everybody high.
Yeah. And then you come back and get around and say, yo, you could perform at Club 2000. So that guy get to perform at Club 2000 because he owned a club called Club 2000. So me and Unique was mad cool back in the day as far as we used to put these other names on the flyers. You understand? You know, special invited guests, Unique and Mecca Audio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they crew could come to our parties, our crew go to their party, especially invite a guest, Slick in the Family, Big Gene, Slick in the Family, stuff like that. So now, Unique told Dawn that he heard that we was out in Cali and told us to warn him because some dudes was in jail talking about they was gonna kill us. So Dawn told me, I told Kirk Burrows we needed more security. I told Puff, I told Big Crew, and we ended up going to that party anyway. But Puff told me not to go. That's the shit is crazy. Like, I went to talk to your Puff, if we go to the party, somebody gonna come up dead tonight. And he was like, well, Gene, you ain't gotta go. So as far as I know, I'm your only security. Why you saying I ain't gotta go?
Heard.
So I called back to the block, I called people, and they ended up going to the party anyway. And that's the night Big lost his life.
And a lot was made, I know recently, Mace talking about security hiding, and you've actually lashed back out at them. What do you have to say to like the naysayers out there that, because, you know, that's just Mace or, there's my kids.
You wanna go check on them?
Yeah, let me go check on them real quick.